Hiya folks, JD here, and finally it has arrived, and it's with a great big thank you to Banggood for sending me this. This is the Xiaomi Fimi A3. Alright then friends, let's bust this bad boy open and have a little look and see what's inside. Alright then friends, and here she is. So, straight off the bat, as soon as I took this out of the box, one thing occurred to me, and that is that this quad is a darn sight larger than I thought she was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller, to be honest. I didn't expect it to be so, just as large as this. I don't know why, just my perceptions were totally different about this quad. So, right off the bat, we have a very nice looking, brilliant, such a fantastically... It's the one thing about this quad that really stands out as soon as you take it out of the box is that it has real big hand feel. Now, what do I mean by that total made-up sentence? Now, what I mean by that is the plastic feels very hard, very rigid. Obviously, this is a fixed-wing quad as well. It doesn't feel as if there's a lot of movement in the quad. I would have expected there to be some, but this is, totally very, very rigid indeed. The plastic feels quite high-grade, feels quite thick, feels quite heavy-duty. Now, let's start off, like always, with the front of the quad. Now, right at the beginning, we have this. Yes, we have a motorized camera on a gimbal, and this is what we've been missing from quite a few quadcopters over the past couple of weeks, is having this gimbal. Now that is hopefully going to enable us to get some proper super smooth video. That particular camera lens is a 1080p output, so max photo resolution of 8 megapixel, and the resolution is 3264 by 2448. Video resolution, as it's 1080, it falls in line beautifully. 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames and 1920 by 1080 at 25 frames. Those are your 2 frames per second options. That's it. You don't have any others. Now you have SD card, which I believe you can use to record video on, according to the manual, and that in itself is a FAT32 file system, so if you've got anything else other than FAT32, it's not going to work. But to be honest with that, FAT32 is not that much of a big deal. All my class 10 SD cards are all FAT32 resolution anyway, FAT32 file system anyway. Image standard output is JPEG, no RAW, and video format is MP4. Not that much of a big deal, it's pretty standard. As we work our way towards the back of the quad, we have the Fimi logo. We have quite a nice sort of etched design out the back of it there. Working our way towards the back, we have this larger module here, probably antenna, a GPS module right at the back there. Then we come across the battery. Now the battery just fits in very nicely and slides out just as nicely as well. Now this particular battery is quite large. It's a 3S. So you get an 11.1 volt 2000 milliamp hour, which roughly takes an approximate 2 hours to charge and gives you again approximate 25 minutes of flight. And now I don't know, that's what it says on paper. The real proof in the pudding is going to be the testing. Now one very nice thing about this isn't micro USB charged. It is charged off a standard balance charger, which is a very, very nice thing to have, rather than always having micro SD ports everywhere just to plug in. Micro SD ports are very, very common and they are easy, but a balance charger is going to ensure that every single cell in this 3S battery is going to be charged properly and is going to be working optimally. Now this little balance charger here, you just have, there's another cable you have which you connect from the underside here to the underside there, and then you just connect it directly into the wall and you shouldn't have any problems there in charging. Now this is the 2 battery pack, so I have another one here. There we go. So I'm going to be charging both of these for its initial flight test. So I'm going to leave those out because I'm going to charge those separately. Along with the charger, you also get, let's have a little look. That looks like a micro USB cable, probably for the transmit, and we'll come on to that later. There is your balance charger cable there. So you've got your 4-pin there, you've got your 4-pin there. Beautiful. Okay, and then we have our propellers as well. We come on to that in a couple of seconds. So that is where the battery fits, just under the bottom there, no problem whatsoever. Flip this over, then you have a standard underside there of a quadcopter. Looks quite nice, on and off button to the back. Do you know what, even the on and off button feels extremely sturdy. It doesn't move around unduly, doesn't click in any other direction other than just directly in the center. I like that. Attention to detail, that's what it's about, and that's what you have here by the look of it. As for an SD card on the quadcopter, even though it was mentioned in the bump, I can't seem to see where there would be an SD card put, unless it's on the side and I've just missed it. No. On the back, I'll have to have a look, unless, because it's using a 5.8G 5.8 gigahertz transmitter, there's every possibility that it just downloads directly onto the transmitter and records that way via an SD card in the transmitter. But we come on to that and we'll have a little look in a minute. But so far, it seems to be a very, very nice quadcopter. It seems to definitely be ticking the premium boxes for such a lower cost. Now, we also have these motors on here as well, and we also have LEDs on the side of the motors, as well as LEDs on the top by the look of it. We'll know more when we take it out to fly soon. Now, these motors are brushless, going to give us that really nice smooth motor action at a low speed, and then at a very high speed you're going to get that acceleration. So at high speed, this quadcopter is rated for 18 meters per second, so that's not too bad at all. As for putting on these propellers, they look as if they should just be push in and click. There shouldn't be nothing heavy about that. So you've got you've got your different propellers here. So you've got white propellers and you've got red propellers there. So you've got, let me just look through the viewfinder. There we go. So red and white, and then you've got another set of red and white there, and then you've got a spare set of one red, one white. Yeah, there we go, standard. So I'm going to put those back in there, put that to one side. Now, the red propellers, quite simply, I'm not even going to look at the manual for this bit because I think it's as easy as the red little mark there, which is not an LED, corresponds to the red little mark there. So I'm guessing that then fits in and then just twists in and locks in. So let's have a quick little look at that and see if I can get that in there properly and see what happens there. Should just be in and lock back. There we go, until you push it in. As easy as that. If you didn't see that, because it is quite an awkward angle, I'm going to show you again. So it's quite simple. In, so you've got spring loaded. So once you put the right propeller on the right motor, push in and then twist to lock. So you've got a lock option. Let me show you on another propeller. So you're on the top of the propeller here, you've got a lock motion there. So when you push down, you know exactly which way to twist in order to lock the propeller in. Let me show you again, just repeating things, but that's not that much of a bad issue in case you couldn't see properly. So let's just get that nice and in there, push, lock, as easy as that. Now, these propellers will come out, and they will come out with a bit of ease as well. So let's just try that. So if I just push this in and lock it, so what does it take to unlock? So if I try to unlock it, it doesn't, unless you push it down and then twist. So you have to be applying pressure to the propeller in order to get that propeller to come out. Now, she looks a little bit more like a quadcopter, looking quite mighty. I hope she's going to be as mighty in the flight. So a couple of other things. We've also got a plug here, no British plug with it as well. So just another plug there. So I'm going to have to put that into my adapter to charge. That's no big deal, but just making you know. You've got your balance charger, you've gone through, and a couple of other things there. But that's everything that we've covered. Now we have this, the transmitter. And you know what, as much as I want to geek out of this, and I'm going to geek out on this quite hard, I think it's wonderful. I really do. One thing I've been missing in the world of quadcopters and RC in general is 5.8 gigahertz. I really have been missing that. 5G has come out and everybody's gone crazy for that. And yeah, that's great if you've got a 5G phone, 5G tablet, no problem. 2.4 has been used to death. You know, you've got range, you've got distance with that, but you don't have reliability of FPV relay. But one thing I've always preferred 5.8. I just like it. I had a couple of 5.8 quadcopters right at the very start of the channel, and you know what, I haven't had a day's problem. I get a nice 100, 150, 200 meters of range with them. I think they're great. I honestly think they're great, and to see it come back on something like this, I'm very, very happy indeed. So let's quickly go over this just so I can show you exactly what we have. So we have, start off, we've got our on button. So let's see if we've got any charge in this. We do indeed, so let's turn it on. Right, let's look at the screen first. So this particular screen, display resolution is 480 by 272. Display size is 4.3 inch. 5.8 gigahertz 40 channel. You've got a max RC distance of 1,000 meters. Built-in batteries at 2950 milliamp hour, which gives you apparently 2.5 hours of working time, and I'll have to see if that actually does give us all that. As standard out of the box, as you can see, you get 3/4 full battery. I'm going to be plugging this in and allowing this to charge fully before the flight. Also, the DVR max resolution as well is 720 by 480. So on the underside of the transmitter you have SD card. There we go. Do we get an SD card in there? No, we don't. You also have what looks like power to charge, and you have, there we are, micro USB in there as well. So let's just cover that back up. These rubber bungs on the bottom are really nice, a real nice tip. Just quite literally because hopefully they are going to properly seal the connectors there to stop any sort of liquid or moisture getting in. So I've just activated by pushing one of the buttons. I think it was the shoulder button there. I've just activated the menu system, and then you can just use the little thumb nipple there just to work your way down and choose exactly what you want from video resolution. So what I'm going to do is set this now to 30 frames a second. I'm going to choose picture quality to superfine 60 megabits per second, because I'm going to be using a class 10 SD card anyway, so that should be fine. ISO auto, I'm going to leave everything pretty much to auto because I don't know what sort of weather I'm going to be having tomorrow, so I'm just going to leave that to auto just to see exactly how everything records as standard. There we go, that's 30 frames a second, as nice as that. There we are. So how do we get back from there is the question. Do I push left? Do I push right? I push left on the thumb there, and that then takes us out of the menu system. Okay, so push in different orientations. Alters. Okay, so it's down on the thumb there just to bring up the menu, and then over to the left to get rid of it. It's up then to give you your return to home, auto, takeoff, auto landing, orbit, follow me, selfie mode, and then you can push down for the main menu. You can push right then. There we are, please insert TF card, so probably that goes through the videos and photos you've recorded, and then you can push left then, which starts off your start flight, camera settings, GPS mode, wireless video, etc, etc. There we go, that's nice to know. Wow, yeah, look at that. Is this running a version of Android, I wonder? Or is this Fimi's own contraption? I doubt it is their own contraption. It probably is a version of Android or a version of Unix, Linux, sort of a version of that kernel. Right, okay, anyway, we're getting off on a tangent, as I do very easily. You've also got your height at the bottom, you've got your speed, and you've got your distance as well, and you've got your height there. So that's not too bad. I like that. I think that's quite sweet. So click and hold, I should be to turn off. There we are. So you've got GPS mode and you've got sport mode there. Sport mode unleashes the full 18 meters per second. GPS is just going to be a nice gentle flight with full gimbal motion. These, oh, do you know what? The resolution on these sticks are beautiful. It's a bit weighted. It's actually weighted quite nicely. If I move ever so gently, it is weighted, but it's weighted so nice. I imagine the quadcopter responding very nicely to those. And of course, antenna are genuine. I would think so too. Yeah, see the cable running up the middle there? Yeah, that's definitely genuine. Perfect, that's what I like to see. There's your transmitter. Do you know what? Very, very nice. 2 buttons on the back as well. Oh yeah, that really does tick some boxes in my world. Do you know what? Loving that. Perfect. Okay, so there we go. So what we got? We got the quadcopter. A couple of other things to say. Have I missed out anything? I don't believe I have on this unboxing. We've got the transmitter, we've got the quadcopter, we've got our accessories we've been through as well. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to crack open this manual and just go through it. It looks pretty good for the minute. I have had a quick little look through it, and it's just pretty standard. It just goes through how to charge, how to assemble and disassemble the quad. The pages fold out as well, so this manual ends up being a gigantic manual. It's good. Go through it. Takes you through safety, takes you through a lot of other things. Definitely worth the read. Highly would recommend to read that. Next thing to do, my friends, is take us out for a flight. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge this, but you're next going to see me flying this. So let's just get on with it. Alright then, friends, let's get to it. So let's turn this quad on. So one click and then a long press. Come on. There we go. And then let's turn on the transmitter. Let's point up the antennas as well, about a 45-degree angle away from the body there. should find that we're okay. There we are, perfect. So let's just have a quick look. I don't know how well you're going to see this. It's very bright here today, so hopefully you are going to see this. Let me see if I can cover the camera slightly and see what we get. So we've got a pre-flight checklist. It just goes through a couple of things. So it'll go through the date, it'll go through what mode you're running, whether what your return to home height is, which is 30 meters, max speed, which is 18 meters per second, and your transmitter voltage, which is 4.1 volts. Okay, so let's come out of that. Perfect. So we can see that we've got enough time on the SD card there. GPS, we're all ready set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the GPS calibration and see. Hang on, come on, what are you doing? There we go. And what I'm going to do there is GPS mode settings. I'm going to, oh no, wrong one. Still getting used to this menu system, just seeing how it's all going. Come on, there we go. And then down to, should be calibration somewhere. I know I've seen it. I'm struggling to see this transmitter menu system. It's very bright here today. There we go, calibration, compass calibration. Click OK to calibrate, and off we go. So we've got a standard calibration, which is around about 1 meter up from any interference, not near any metal, and then just twist. And then what you'll have then is, once you're calibrated one way, then your little app, which is why, if you wonder why the angle on this is quite strange, I'm just keeping an eye on the app there, just to, oh, let's have a look. There we go, perfect, that's done. And then if I twist it the other way with the camera facing upwards, because it's a little bit difficult to see, and then that'll take it from 60% complete to 100 when you get a couple of beeps. There we go. We've got our beeps, we're done, compass is calibrated, so we are all good to go, hopefully. So, press any key to exit, there we go. Let's get rid of that, let's get rid of that. Right then, so give it a couple of seconds. It's just going to go back through, it's just going to ensure that it's going to run through its system settings, make sure it can actually start to work. The gimbal is going to calibrate, it's going to run through everything, and then it's going to hit into GPS mode. 13 satellites, now we're ready to take off. So I'm going to click and hold on the left button at the back of the transmitter to start recording video, hopefully. Yep, there we go. We've got some video recording. Now today we've got some hellish wind. So at the best point it's 15 mile an hour. At the worst point it gusts up to 17. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate, oh come on, I'm going to initiate auto takeoff. There we go. So auto takeoff initiated, and up she doesn't just increase altitude, she jumps. It's most definitely a jump in motion, and then she's just sitting there. Quite nice indeed. So what I'm going to do, I'm really struggling to see this. There we go, I think I've got me in the frame. I'm very much struggling to see this transmitter display screen here. I know you can get yourself a nice little case to go over it so that you've got a nice little shield, but to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't want for this test to have the added weight. I wanted to see what the transmitter was like, bare bones, as you get it in the package. So we're up at an altitude 4 meters is what I think it said, and it's hovering there. So that in itself is height of between 4 and 5 meters fluctuating. It's, to be fair, in this wind, just checking for anybody around me, nope. In this wind, I think it's holding remarkably well. This is my second Xiaomi quadcopter that we're looking at. The first one was the Mi 2, and this is now the second one, the A3. So, that's taken a bit of a battering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly move her around and see how she does in this weather. Because if she's not, because she's a very rigid quad, if she doesn't react well, I'll bring her down. There's no flex in the body, there's nothing, so you're not even going to be looking at any sort of the quadcopter absorbing any of this bad weather, anything, or the body isn't going to flex to try and give it a little bit of supple movement. It's going to hit a hard body, it's going to hit a hard propeller arms, and it's not going to flex at all. Now, one thing that stands out, very apparent, stop the quad there. Now, it is about 3 PM, Saturday afternoon. I am a distance of 50 meters away. I've got a little bit of interference over the transmitter here. Let's raise the quad a little bit more, because it could be that the line of sight is bad. That's instantly better. 50 meters away, a height of 13 meters. First thing I notice is even here on a day like today, I can see the white LEDs on the quadcopter easily without there being any problem whatsoever. That white is piercing. She corners, wow, really well actually. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult to get her to corner and to get her to straighten up afterwards, but she is actually remarkably good. Now, a lot like the Zino, I was very much in two minds with this. I did not know whether to go for it, which is why I've spent so long just waiting, really. And the Zino surprised me on the newest firmware, and this has surprised me. I haven't updated the firmware of this. This is whatever it came with stock. I just wanted to see what it was like. So far, though, I'm not really pushing it at this minute. I'm just seeing how she's just flying. I'm not doing too much to her. I'm just seeing a little bit of yaw and roll to turn her to see exactly how she is combating this wind with the rigid body there. And to be fair, very well. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. Let's fling her back around. Now I've added a bit of air brake there just to slow her down in her tracks. So she's doing 48 meters, 58. What I'll do is I'll bring her around one last time, and then I'll take her out again and see if we can get about 150, 200 meters. I don't want to go too crazy. I would have gone a bit further, if anything, during the day, during the morning flight rather than an afternoon flight, because the afternoon flight I'm really struggling to see this display. And you shouldn't fly display only, you should always fly in line of sight, but display is a good backup. You should always know exactly what your quadcopter is doing, i.e. what it tells you, the system health, the battery, as well as transmitter range, GPS signal, you know, things like that. But at the same time, I'm seeing a bit of interference just running out over the 5.8. That's pretty standard for 5.8. I remember seeing that before in other 5.8 quads, but at the same time, I want to make sure that what is relaying is actually the picture, because the gimbal, a lot like with the Zino and a lot like with other gimbal quads, gives the impression that it's not really moving. You can't see it fluctuating side to side. It is die straight. And even though that is exactly what you want out of a gimbal and out of a quad, it is once again just making sure that everything is working as it should. Do you know what though? I really like this. I'm just seeing how she's flying. I'm just sort of trying to test her out a little bit. She's wavering a bit on the corners, a little bit of wallow, but that's to be expected with the wind that we have here. I mean, the wind's going to be buffeting her left and right, so there is going to be a lot of movement. But you know what? She doesn't half fly and doesn't half get from one end to the other quickly enough. Now, I do want to try return to home. I do want to try a couple of other things. For the second, we are just gone halfway. No, just gone quarter way through the battery. Again, I'm struggling. Sorry, folks, really struggling to see this display here. I think it's... Do you know what? I really need to have that display properly. Yeah, I need to crack out my my sun shield. But then again, probably not going to be needing it past the next 3 months. Not as much. Well, actually, no, going into December, I'm probably going to need it a bit more, actually. It's in January and February we don't get a lot of sun down here. Do you know what, though? Really, really is nice. Let's increase that altitude a bit. Height of 19 meters. Flinging her around, taking her back out, full chat, 100% positive pitch. And you know what? She is just really stunning. Really stunning. Right, okay, so where am I? So I am now at 72 meters away. Let's increase that a bit. Let's see if we can get up to more like the 80, 85. Ooh, there's a bird there that doesn't like my quad. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just look and see what those birds are doing. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate return to home. So return to home should take me up to 30 meters. And then from there, then yeah, it is increasing. 24, 25, 26, 28, 30, bang. Now, hopefully she's going to turn around and come back. Nope, she's going to reverse, and I can see that line of sight because I can't see anything from the display because the sun is really bearing down, but I can see that she is just flying backwards. Okay, didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be she would turn around. Now this wind has just picked up and she is, do you know what, I'm going to move that bag because I always do this. You would have thought after 3.5 years I would have learnt. Down she comes, auto returning. So we've been flying for 7 minutes and 45 so far before I initiated return to home. I wanted to see exactly how she's gonna do, you know. So height of 10 meters, she's slowly lowering herself. I want to see how this does because I'm very intrigued because the calibration process was very simple. There's, you know, it hasn't given me any negatives on the flight, nothing that I can see on the display. There we go, and she's coming down. She's going to land on a peg, a little bit of grass cutting. Oh no, do you know what, she's going to land, oh she's off center. Oh, and normally that's a nightmare then for the motors to try and cut out, but that's where she landed. That's it. So she's on the pad, but she's just missing the back, so I'm gonna just call that about 1/4 of a foot out. I'm not going to go any more negative than that, because to be perfectly honest with you, that's about the same as what I was hoping that she was going to do. I was hoping she wasn't going to come out to here and be, you know, so far away. She seems, from the little flight that I've done around here, she seems pretty dialed in. She seems pretty locked on. Now, a smart flight again, auto takeoff. Watch this auto takeoff. This thing is crazy. She doesn't just take off, she jumps. And off we go. Watch her now. There we go, boom! She does have a little jump to her there. So, because this wind is quite bad, oh, you can hear that wind against those motors, the propellers rather. Whoo! So I'm going to try a couple of features and see exactly how far we do. So let's try, if I can see this. Let me see, smart flight, orbit flight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring her in a little bit before I initiate this, because I don't know how this is going to go. I can't see the instructions properly, so I just want to figure out exactly how she's going to do this. Orbit flight. So, fly to above the point of interest. Okay, pitch and roll, yeah, to move around. That's standard orbit. So now, I can still pitch her forward. I can still roll her side to side. Is she in orbit mode? Let me see it. There's nothing on screen to say that she is. Orbit flight, okay. She got to be a little bit higher maybe. Taking her up higher. Height of 10 meters. Let's leave her at height of 12. But the thing is, I've still got full motion, full movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record some video, because when I auto returned to home, the video stopped. Smart flight, orbit flight. Make sure the field is open. Short press the home button to exit this mode. Okay, and then it doesn't go into any mode whatsoever. No mode whatsoever. Just kind of sits there, and I've still got full range of motion, which I would expect orbit not for me able to pitch forward, but just to roll side to side, left to right. Okay, fine, let's forget orbit, I'll come back to that in a bit. Let's see whether I can do follow me. So follow me, it follows the RC, so follow me will follow this transmitter, but that hasn't initiated either. So I'm going to click the home button in case it has automatically, unless in case it has got a bit confused. Let me try again, follow me. So follow me, the drone will follow RC to fly automatic. Make sure the field is open, short press the home button to exit this mode. So I've got the quad in front of me, maybe she's a bit too high, let's bring it down a bit. So it follows the RC they refer to, if you're wondering in the manual, as the transmitter. So I'm going to click OK. Let's lower that gimbal down as well. Gimbal motion is really so smooth. Hopefully it's going to move, but it might be that it's not, because it's got quite a lot of pressure around it from the wind. I mean, it's not, as you can see from the tree, I'm not making it up, you know, this is really quite some bad breeze, bad wind. Okay, let's try again. None of these auto features are working. Okay, exit smart flight mode. Okay, let's try again. Maybe it's because I was trying to do too many things. It's because it's low battery. I could just see the top left. It's low battery. That's why it's not doing anything. Right, okay, I can understand that. Fine. Sorry, folks, my fault totally. I honestly thought that she just wasn't doing it for the sake of not doing it. But she wasn't doing it because there's low battery warning in the top left. That's exactly why she wasn't doing it. It doesn't feel like we've had 20 odd minutes. Feels more like we've had probably about 15. But at the same time, gotta speak as I find, she's got a lot of wind against her today, a lot of pressure. So that in itself is not going to be good for her flying. She's going to have to put up with a lot of interference. She's going to have to fly. And what I mean by interference, I don't mean radio. I mean interference from the wind, from the breeze. She's going to have to fly into it. And then she's going to be accelerated from it like that. And then she's going to, when I turn her around, fly back into it again. It's like as if she doesn't, like as if it doesn't bother her. But you can see obviously from the battery timing that it does. Right folks, somebody's come into the field as well behind me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring this birdie down and then we'll have a chat and see how it goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another try on the return to home. And is she going to do return to home? Yeah, it does say auto returning. So on low battery you can't use any other feature, but you can auto return, which is good. And she doesn't go up to 30 meters, just to let you know when you're on low battery, because currently she's at a height of 7 meters. But she won't turn round. She does just go forward or go backwards depending on where you are. But this is a little bit weird because remember the first return to home we had was so good and it just, you know, landed practically on the pad. Second one's quite a way away. Again, could be environmental. Maybe wind could be environmental. Oh, I hate those landings. Always not soft at all. So let's see. That's where she landed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So roughly approximately 12 feet away from the landing pad. So that wasn't brilliant at all. If in fact it's probably one of the worst automatic return to homes we've had. But at the same time, at least she came back. But I am a little bit perturbed by the fact that she does just come back from the way that she's pointing. There's no turning. There's no auto alignment, so when she comes back she doesn't then turn around to face off the way that she took off. It's just a small thing, I know, but at the same time it's something I've become quite used to with a lot of other quads we've had. Now there we are, as she has stopped. When you land her, yeah, she's automatically turned off all of the video recording, so that means now I'm just going to turn this quad off. There we go. Come on, make some noise for me. There we are, good. That, I'm no stranger to having a quadcopter where you have to click once, then click and hold on the on and off button. This makes it a little bit strange. Maybe I'm just used to DJI. Right, okay, so find out in a couple of days what my final thoughts are on this totally. But I've got 3 things to say today, just as I think of it, before I watch the footage back, before I do anything else. One of them needs a gimbal cover. No gimbal cover came with mine. Don't know if it came with anybody else's. I would quite like there to be something that just clips over the front there. Second thing, return to home. First return to home, you know what, hand on my heart, I thought it was fantastic. Second one, 12.5 foot or 12 foot out, not the best, but I'm going to try it again when there's no wind. Third thing, display. If you know that your accessory needs a sun shield like they advertise for this, then why not include it? I mean, this isn't a cheap quad, not by any stretch of the imagination. I think this quad is, in fact, sitting at the same price point as the Zino. Therefore, the little screen cover, I think, should be included. I didn't get one in mine. I know it's not included in anybody else's, but still, I would quite like there to be something, because then I could at least bring this up and I can have a bit more confidence. This is why I didn't take her out far today, because I have no confidence in me seeing this. And when I'm out really far and I can see, say, 200 meters, I can see the black of the quad, and I can the black silhouette rather of the quad, and I know that it's there and I can bring it back if needed. But for the second, because I can't see this display, I didn't know what orientation she would be in, and if I was to fly at any length it would be a bit dangerous. But don't worry, we've got a distance flight coming up hopefully very, very soon with this. Right then, my friends, find out more from the rest of the week's videos. It's all going to be about the Fimi A3 this week, like we have every other week. We have a particular quadcopter and then we look at that quad over the next week or so. Right then, my friends, thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.